Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bigger Than Sports podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Noah from NonStop Clothing.
I appreciate you, Ian. Thank you for having me on your platform and on this podcast. And just us talking and meeting up like previously in the last couple of days, it's just been amazing of what Bigger Than Sports is doing. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah. And hey, when this guy makes it big, just know that I met him at a pop up, doing what he does best, going out and just being gritty, getting sales. When it comes to clothing and even nonprofit work, it's all the same. I think that relationship building is just super, super important. And we got to go from a conversation and helping him pack up his stuff to now being on the stage to talk to all of you and be able to share philosophies, share advice, and have everything be beyond just a conversation, but actually to be heard and to be impacted. So, no, I'm going to start it off with a question that I've been wondering, and I've been asking a lot of my friends, but it's as simple as this. You are a successful entrepreneur. What actual qualities do you have to become one? And for the viewers, a lot of them are trying to become successful entrepreneurs. A lot of people are wondering what they need to do, and hearing it from you as one would be very impactful for them.
Yeah. So I would say honestly, the three qualities within being an entrepreneur is one, definitely, like Ian said, being gritty. That would be number one. Number two, I think would be definitely being a hustler. And number three, being very ambitious. And yes, those three qualities can be very similar, but also I think from me being an athlete, it shaped me into doing everything that I'm doing now to being an entrepreneur. So, yeah.
Okay. Gritty. I read this statistic, and it's from the Diary of a CEO, and all of the Navy SEALs, they go and there was a study that was done on the Navy SEALs, and as a result, they looked into who actually completed the training, okay? And it wasn't the strongest, it wasn't the smartest, and in fact, it was the people with the most highest grit scale. So speak on grit a little bit and how it shaped your story.
So pretty much with me, goes back to me being an athlete. Like, for example, like Ian said, it wasn't always the strongest, it always wasn't the biggest. And for me, being a basketball athlete, standing only at 5'8", I had to be a dog. I worked my ass off my whole life, and every time I had to step foot in through either a room or getting in front of college coaches, that was something they deferred the minute I walked in because they see me as a 5'8" kid, and they're like, all right, is this kid going to be able to do what I have this 6-foot guard doing? So my whole life, I always had to be the one to outwork everybody. I always had to be the first one in the gym, last one out of the gym, and I think that is what translated me to doing nonstop, because my whole life the odds were against me, but I just never allowed that to decline whatever I was doing. And I think that's like a big part of who I am and why I think if either you're an athlete or an entrepreneur, I think that helps you. It will get your foot in the door and also take away from all the other people or all the other competition that's in the game. So I think that's something that helped me.
So for people that are looking to, I guess, better their grit, what would you say to them? Like, what are things tangibly that they can do?
I would say, one, I think for me, as I think also grit, I think you're either born with it, but for you to work on that, honestly, I think just having little goals for yourself. I think building that confidence booster is a big thing in whether obviously you're a business owner or an athlete. So whether that's like, okay, you had a goal for today, and that's just you. For example, for me, me putting myself out there and putting my face in front of my brand and going out and doing pop-ups where, okay, nothing is guaranteed. But just me putting my foot out there and getting myself in front of people, that's just a confidence booster for myself. Like, yo, I was able to get out of my bed, put my foot down, and grind regardless of whatever that outcome is. So I think that thing in general is a big stepping stone for yourself, and I think to boost your self esteem. So.
So as a startup entrepreneur, was it is it the podcasts or is it the pop-ups? Is it the conversations you're having with people, the athletes you bring on? How have you been able to be so successful just at such an early stage?
So I think for me is really connecting with people. I think the we're just building a brand in general where I think storytelling is really important. I believe that if you can connect with people on a deeper level, I think that's what makes everything so much bigger. For example, like when I'm doing pop-ups, I know there's going to be a day where I'm not going to be able to put my face there and actually meet my customers and really hear and own in on how my story relates to them. So I truly think that, and building relationships, being real with people, being genuine, like it's okay to show people what you're going through. Like we're all human at the end of the day. We're all going through something. We all have either some type of insecurity or some type of wariness where it's like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna play out the way I want to, but I think just you starting and putting yourself out there, I think that's the best thing for it. So honestly, to really answer the question, I think one, connecting with people and being genuine and having a lifestyle or a story that they feel relatable to and can connect to.
I think it's interesting because as an athlete, you've always been a part of a team, and I'm interested because of how successful NonStop Clothing has been. Have you been able to do it with the team?
Yeah, so for my team is my dad, my brother, my family, and obviously all the people and all my supporters is really my team, because without them, I would have not been able to do all the things that I'm doing. Whether that's me just starting off and my dad, who's been working his whole life, and he really doesn't even have to help me and do pop-ups or help me when I first started, where it's like I'm at one location and now my dad is at another location, and my dad is 50 years old. So just having that support from my family is honestly a thing that I'm very blessed to have, because there's a lot of families now that are not as close, and especially from a kid, I think that's a big thing to have your family really support your dream and like what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. And on the logistics side, who helps you there?
so logistically, like for me, everything that I've been doing up to this point has been I've been wearing all the hats mainly, and it's actually funny. I was talking about this the other day on one of my videos on my IG page, and a lot of people ask me like, "Yo, like, what does it take to be a business owner?" And majority of when you are first starting, you are going to be wearing most of the hats in your business. For example, like for me, like me doing the sales, me doing the marketing, me doing content creation, doing pop-ups all over South Florida, trying to get my face and my name in front of people. Whether that's me like DMing a bunch of influencers at night, DMing different wellness events, and trying to get my foot in my brand as many places as possible. And then on top of that, you have fulfillment. You're shipping out orders every day. And yeah, it can be stressful, but you are the engine in your business, especially when you are just starting up and building something from the ground up. So, like for me, I think what helps me is that being present and knowing that, okay, even if I don't have that right now, those pieces will come as you obviously build a cash flow within your business. You're going to be able to hire someone to do your marketing. You're going to be able to have people where they're making content for you, and now all this weight is not just on your shoulders. Now you could step back and actually focus on what needs to be focused on within your business. So I think that's the way of it.
Yeah, I love that. I've been wearing a ton of hats, and I'm blessed to have a team.
Yeah.
But it's an untalked about issue, but maybe it's not an issue of being an entrepreneur, because you are always told, you need to have a team, but sometimes you don't, and sometimes you have to be a dog. You have to
Yeah.
do every little thing by yourself. And so there's two aspects I want to take this. But first, I'm going to start with the more real side of it. Like, tell me about that boulder on your shoulder, being an entrepreneur, wearing all of the hats. I'm sure you had to go paycheck to paycheck when you first started out,
Yeah.
and hearing all the naysayers. Like, speak on that and speak into people that are going through that right now.
Yeah, so like for me, me being an athlete, my whole entire life, I wasn't really able to work that much. Like my first private job was like a restaurant job, and even then, doing that and being an athlete was hard. So I really didn't have the income to work and obviously get my own place. Like I was blessed enough to be living at home with my parents, and even then, like it was hard. But my whole thing was like, okay, at least even if I'm living at home or not having the means to it, I just have to go out there. Like I think the hardest thing for people is just to start, because they think everything's going to be perfect in the beginning, and it's not. But as long as you put your foot forward and start something, I think that's where it could take you really far.
And I guess the second aspect to it would be like, how rewarding has it been? How much fun is it to dream bigger, to live bigger, and to start something and actually see it through?
Yeah, so I think honestly the coolest thing about it is I think me selling my first like t-shirt ever that I did, and just like walking around to like different gyms in South Florida and seeing people wear your gear and wearing the clothing, and it just, I think that itself is probably one of the best inspirational, and it fuels me every day, honestly, because it just is a reminder to myself like, yo, this is bigger than just clothes. I'm having an impact on people, and now we're building a community and a family behind the brand where other people are liking it and they're wearing it, and I think that is the best thing. And obviously, like anything you grinded for or worked really hard for, I think if it wasn't easy, it just makes things so much better, regardless of how big or how small that goal is. I think that's a great thing about it.
And when you did have those boulders and you had to carry and probably still do have to wear all the hats, like, what keeps you going?
Honestly, what keeps me going is I think my mindset and really knowing that even if I do something small every day consistently, I know sooner or later that it's going to work out. I try not to overwhelm myself and get stressed, even though there's times that I do. There's times that I'm like, there's days where it's like, damn, man, like it can be hard. But anything that's easy in life, it's not worth it. I think if it's hard, it wouldn't be meant to be for everybody. So just having that mindset and knowing that, okay, I started this, I know it's not going to be easy, but at the end of the road, I know something will work out.
And did you have that same mindset in basketball?
100%, man.
Yeah.
My whole life, I was, like I said, the underdog. The unknown can be scary for people, and for me, coming out of high school, trying to figure out where I was going to go for college, and like any kid now, that could be a tough thing because you're trying to figure out, all right, it's my senior year, me not having zero offers, trying to figure out where I wanted to go. And I think what kept me going is obviously I had a lot of people telling me that it's all going to work out, but at the same time, I knew the work that I put into. I knew everything I did up to that point is that sooner or later that it was going to work out. Me having my faith in God and really trusting my work of everything that I did, and that all the people that were behind me in my journey, that I know sooner or later it will come. So I think for me, having that mindset, being very confident in myself, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to save you. If you're confident in yourself and fully capable and know what you're doing, I think that will lead you in the right direction.
Hmm. I think if life makes you an underdog, and you time and time have grit to go through everything, the last missing piece to being successful is faith. Could you speak on how faith shaped your journey?
Yeah.
And to anyone out there that's lost and is at that breaking point where they don't have any faith, what would you say to them?
I would say to keep going and to not quit on yourself. And to use me as an example, there was a point in my time and in my life that faith has been a big component of what I was doing, whether it was me being an athlete, and it actually takes me back to college. It was my first year. I was actually going to PBA University at the time, and I ended up getting recruited there. And the coach ended up leaving that year, and they started a whole recruitment process. And with that being said, I wasn't able to play on the team. And that full year, everyone's asking me back at home, like, yo, no, why are you not playing? Just come back home and play for a college down here in New York. And I tried to either like walk on. I spoke to the coach, and I had coaches call him saying like, yo, give this kid a shot. And I never got that opportunity. And that whole year, I remember being in bed and like calling my parents, and I'm like, bro, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't go back home. It was more, I wouldn't say an ego thing, but it was more so like, if I quit on myself now, how am I gonna be preaching something that I'm not doing? And I remember that year, I remember just crying, bro, and I was just so down of like, yo, is this the end? And I really thought about it. I really thought about quitting. And I think what helped me was it was all the years and all the work that I put into up to that moment. I was like, I really do believe, I think God puts you in situations and obstacles that knowingly that he knows that you can overcome. So what I did for me was I had faith, and I said, I remember praying. I remember sitting down on my bed, and I remember praying to God. I was like, God, just please help me in whatever obstacle this is or whatever you're trying to teach me. Allow me to go through this and see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'll never forget, like, I ended up working and grinding like that whole year, even though I wasn't playing on the team, but as like if I was. And from that moment, I thugged it out for a year. And it was coming to the end of the year, I ended up meeting a pro trainer, which his name's Bryce Jenkins. And from there, I ended up training with him, working. I told him my story. He got me involved with people at Kaiser. And he gave me an opportunity where I can just show up, and all I had to do is play well. And from there, I ended up getting a scholarship, and I ended up getting to transfer to Kaiser and being able to play. And through all that hard work, it just goes to show you, like, if I would have quit it right there would have not been no outcome. But the biggest thing is, like, if you stop, there's no outcome that's ever going to come, and you're always going to live with regret, like, damn, what if I just kept going? What if I just not quit it on myself? And I think that's something who shaped me, and it's why I am the man that I am today.
My friend always says patterns are key and present in all things. So for you, going through that your freshman year, when has that pattern come up again? When have you been back against the wall, having to make a transition? And because you reacted that way, did you react the same way when it happened again?
Yeah, and time again, I've done that. I've always been one to bet on myself, and I think that's my gift that God gave me, is being, I would say, so confident in myself that no matter how bad things look, that in order for me to achieve what I have to achieve, I know I have to keep going. And another point in time could have been me actually. So actually, once I got my scholarship from Kaiser, now I had to do it all over again. Now I'm starting from a new coaching staff, a new team, and now that if people don't know this, actually Kaiser has two teams. So it has the developmental team, and it also has the regular team. My first year, me being in Florida, one, by myself, no family, all my family's back at home, and I had nobody to vouch for me. All I had was all my coaches that I had in New York, my trainer that brought me in, and from there, I had to do it all over again. I had to pave my way up, and my first year, I ended up playing for the developmental team. And from there, I remember figuring out, like, okay, like, am I really supposed to be playing at this level? And obviously, that could be either my ego talking or just having so many coaches tell me, like, no, why are you doing that? You could be back home either playing for like a Division II school or Division III school, and killing and having that opportunity for you to play. And I went back on my word. I was just like, I came to Florida for a reason, regardless of how obviously that easy outcome would have been for me just to go back home. But I didn't want. If I was to do that, I feel like I quitted on everything that I said I was gonna do. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna thug it out. I'm gonna just kill, show up. And I ended up playing the whole season, got first team, was averaging like 25, 30 a game. And from there, I got my opportunity. I ended up having to obviously play for the varsity team. I got my shot in doing that. And through all that, it led me to being able to play at the college level. Even no matter how hard it was for me, I still was able to get to that point. And I think that is someone who I am and why I think the brand is a big representation of who I am and what I want people to feel the impact from. That it's for the people that told them that they can't do something. It's for the people that, regardless of whatever people are saying to them, that you're just going to keep going, and that whether either it's today or it's tomorrow, you're going to get that goal that you wanted. But as long as you keep going, I think that's the big thing of it.
Mm-hmm. And wow, it's such an impactful story because I can't even imagine how many people are going through that right now. It doesn't have to be sports. It could be anything. It could be mental health. It could be a relationship. It could be your family. Or it could be just what's going on in between these 2 years. It's hard being an entrepreneur, but it's also hard being a student. It's hard being a son, being a daughter. And no matter what, and take it from Noah and his story through trials and tribulations, you have to keep going. You have to keep fighting. And just play with this here. What would your story look like now if freshman year you had not turned to God, you had not turned to faith, and you went back home, or you stayed at PBA and just were a normal student, didn't play basketball, and quit? What would your life look like then?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question because I know a lot of kids actually struggle with this. And even some of my teammates actually struggle with this. Like, I remember when I first started the brand, and just to obviously have this as an example, I asked some of my teammates, like, yo, like, at the age of like 25, 26 years old, like, what's your plan for after college? What's your plan on actually getting into the real world and starting your career? And like you said, like, when you're an athlete your whole life, you're like in this realm of where that's all you know. All you know is to pick up a basketball, pick up a football, and train and focus on whatever that goal is, whether you're a student athlete. And a lot of kids, and it's sad to say, they don't know what they're going to be doing without that. Like, there's kids out there, and like, for example, my mother, she's a paraprofessional, dual language guidance counselor now. and most of her life she's dealt with Title I kids. And most of these kids come from backgrounds where they don't have that support, where it's like they're looking to have this sport be their way out. And it's very sad because even if for me, if I didn't keep going and went back home, yeah, I probably would have had help, but at the same time, it's like now I'm trying to figure out what am I gonna do with my life? Like, now that I'm done with basketball, what is it that I really like to do, or go out into the world and actually start my real life? So, to answer that question, honestly, I probably would have went back home, been a regular student, and just had to figure it out, which is tough.
Would there be a nonstop?
Yeah.
I know.
Honestly, I think it still would have started, and the way I had the logo like for a while, and when I got into college, I wanted to use my platform to start something. So in New York, people used to call me Noah Nonstop, and it's because obviously of the work ethic. So even if I didn't obviously continue going on in basketball, I think I would have started it. But I think timing is everything. I think everything that I went through, I had to go through it. Like reaching all the way up to me getting injured, me obviously getting now to the college level, playing at the varsity team, and now dislocating my knee. And now that's just another setback of everything that I've been doing. So like this, my whole life was like a roller coaster. I had my highs, I had my lows, and that's why I got the name. So then when I started the brand, it's actually crazy. Before it became like nonstop, like the performance wear brand, I was actually just to title back on, it's a little story time. I was still in college at the moment, and I remember going like right after practice, and my teammates were like, "Yo, no, where are you going?" And I'm like, "Bro, I gotta go to Miami," and they're like, "What are you going to Miami for?" And at the time, Drake had a concert in Miami, and this is like the beginning of Nonstop and how everything got started. I was just designing. I was like, all right. At the time, I literally had no money to my name. If I'm being real with you, I was a broke college athlete, and I was like, yo, okay, how am I gonna transition or get some type of income where I could use that to start my brand, which is Nonstop. And the way it actually happened for me is that I ended up getting a loan from someone who helped me out to make like 500 t-shirts of Drake design that I put together. And I remember going to his house. His name's Terrell, by the way, good family friend of mine. And he looked at me and he was like, "Are you sure you really want to do this?" And I was like, I looked at him dead in his eye, and I was like, "I promise you." My main thing was getting him the money back, and obviously being able to sell all the t-shirts. And it was 500 t-shirts. And I told him, I was like, "I promise you I can sell that in 2 nights." And he looked at me. I never forget the way he looked at me. He was like, "You really gonna be able to do that?" And he was like, "You promised me that you could do that." He was like, "If you give me your word, I'll be able to give you this money. You'll be able to make the t-shirts." And I told him, I said, "I promise you I'll do it." And right then and there, him giving me that opportunity is what led to Nonstop. So right after practice, I ended up going to Miami, and it was me, my brother, his girlfriend, my cousin, and my dad. Literally like 6 suitcases full with t-shirts, of Drake t-shirts for this concert, which is crazy. And we ended up going out there, and I literally grabbed the table. I put it across the street from the Casilla Center, right across the street, and I took a chance on myself. That is someone, this is why the brand became Nonstop, because that's me my whole life. Everything that I've went through is what led me to now building this brand. So all you see is me and my brother, bro, like running back in the street, back and forth, back and forth. and just hustling. And that's what the brand was built on. It was built on hustle and grit. And for me doing that, I was able to sell 500 t-shirts in 2 nights, which is insane. But it goes to show you, if you have a passion for something, if you truly believe in yourself and just a hunger to get whatever that it is you want out of this life, you can get it. And obviously I had a team with me as well that backed me up. So because at the end of the day in this world, you can't do nothing by yourself. But as long as you have that passion and you're the engine of whatever you're doing, it's going to go far. And that's how I got started.
Aw. What a story. 500 t-shirts, bro. I never would have thought. And unspoken hero, Terrell.
Yeah.
Shout out Terrell, because that's a real one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Shout out Team Money, man. For real.
So, I understand nonstop, and just help me understand the other slogan. I mean, everyone's heard the Rocky quote, "There is no tomorrow."
Yeah.
So tell me about your slogan with tomorrow.
Yeah. So our slogan is "Remember Tomorrow," and what that means is that for me, I was an athlete my whole life, and they always tell you you're better than your last game. For example, for me, even if I dropped 30, I had 30 points, whatever, I had 10 assists, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you're going to have to wake up the next day and do it all over again and to keep going until the dream is real, which is why it's called Remember Tomorrow. Because for me, being an undersized guard, no matter how much I did, there always was going to be someone that said, he's too small. He's not going to be able to play at the college level. He's not going to be able to do it. But it stuck with me because it was like, do so much where they have to respect you. That do so great that even if they hate you or try to disown you or put you down, be so great at what you're doing that it's going to lead you into the right direction. And that's why our slogan is called Remember Tomorrow, because it's consistency. It's why it's called nonstop, because no matter if you had a good day or a bad day, you're going to still have to wake up and keep doing it, because if you don't, then that dream is at a far reach from whatever you're trying to do. And that's why the slogan is called Remember Tomorrow.
Okay. Remember tomorrow. And let's remember a couple of years back. And I want you to speak to every athlete that's about to have to make a transition. First, walk us through the injury, how it made you feel and what was going on in your mind.
Yeah.
And speak to those people that are going to have to make that transition, whether it's injury, whether it's not being able to make it to the next level. What did they do?
Yeah. So for me, what I did is, I remember when the injury happened, it was probably, to this day, I probably have PTSD from it, because watching. So what happened? I ended up dislocating my knee. I came off a hard hedge, and I planted my foot, and my knee just went out. So me having to sit on the floor and visually see that for like 20 minutes before the ambulance came is something that like sticks in my brain. Anytime I see a person go up and they land, it's just something that happened to me, so I know what that feeling is. And for those kids who are going through that transition, it's a very hard pill to swallow, because I know what it is to work for something that you worked so hard for, and now it's just another setback that takes you away from that goal that you wanted. So what I would tell people, honestly, is to fully be present in what they're doing. Don't get into about, oh, what's going to happen next, or don't worry about what other people are telling you. Just try to mainly focus on what's going on right now, because we as people, I think we put false images in our brain, and people, like, they lay out this whole outcome of like, oh my god, like, what's going to happen, which kicks into, like, obviously there's kids out there that probably deal with depression or anxiety because they're so worried about, oh my God, why does this have to happen to me? Why does this always happen to me? And I think that's a trigger and a bad mindset for you to have. Instead of you being, oh, why does this happen to me? Maybe say something like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you for that. Look at the brighter things in life. You're still breathing. You're still alive on this earth. Try to find the positive out of, no matter how bad your outcome looks, try to find the positive things behind it. And that's what helped me. What helped me was that, okay, yeah, I'm injured. Maybe this is God telling me to take a chill, like relax. Try to see things in a different light. And for me, I was always on the go, and I never knew how to just sit down and relax and actually start looking and seeing things at different point of views. So I would say that would be my advice for anyone who's going through that stage, whether it's like an injury or not knowing where they're going to go to college, what are they going to do after college, or transitioning from high school into college. And I would say, honestly, be present and have full faith in God, and that just know that regardless of how your outcome looks, that everything's going to be okay. So, yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. We talk all the time at Bigger Than Sports about how important sports are. And let Noah be a testament because, one, everything that he learned through sports is the reason why he's successful outside of it. You see, to the kids that are still playing and on the court, have fun. Like, tell me about it. Those moments in the back of the bus, like, that's everything, man. And whether you play sports and you make it to the pros and the Hall of Fame, or you have to stop playing after high school, or you have to stop playing after college, those moments, they shape you. And if you're not present during them, you will fall behind, and you will think that the state championship ring is your ticket to success for the rest of your life, when it's not. As soon as you transition from sports, no one cares. No one cares. And it's one of the toughest pills to swallow, and that's why it's not talked about at all. But it is bigger than sports, and there is no stop, because life keeps on going, and everyone's life is an up and down slope. And when you're in those downs, it's when you can find the goodness in one, your own life, and two, the people's around you. That's when you can essentially crack the code. We have been able to give you the keys to success, whether it's through determination, grit, and hustle, and by finding the positivity and the negativity. Whether you're an underdog, whether you're stuck in a depression, or you're going through one of the hardest transitions, if you can just truly find gratitude in any position that you are in, and you can find the positivity and chase after it with no stop, there is no limits to what you can do on this planet. Noah, I appreciate you tons for coming on. You have just dropped absolute gems. And for all supporters, for all viewers, please go and support, and please let us know how we can.
Man, I appreciate you for one having me on your platform and being able to inspire, or whoever's watching, make an impact in a kid's life. Because I think out of anything you're doing, just for me, I think really what is true success is being able to help somebody else, regardless of your story and what you're doing. And for me to inspire people and give them an impact, to give them motivation to keep going. And I think that's my biggest goal in this life, whether it's with my brand or with just me as a person, is to help kids who are struggling with that, because I know what it is to struggle. So I just want to say thank you again for having me on this platform. And if you guys do want to support me, you can follow us at non_stop on IG, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. It's on all the platforms. So I appreciate you guys, and keep going no matter what. So yeah.
Don't stop. It's nonstop. And always remember, it's bigger than sports.